Hello, hello, hello. Okay, so I am just going to quickly pop on to Facebook on my phone and share this video. So just one moment, if you'll bear with me. Okay, how is everybody? Hope you guys are good. Let's see if I can figure out how to do this. Bear with me, guys. Hey, Joan. How are you tonight? I am just sharing this video, so bear with me 1 second here. Hope everybody's having a good night so far. All right, here we go. Hi, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. It's been a while. Let's see, sorry guys. First time. Here we are. Okay, I'm going to share one more one more place, and then I'll get started with my Who Am I stuff that I have for today. So. Okay, I lied. One more place. 1 second. I'm so sorry. Okay, there we go. Okay, so it looks like I should be able to see my comments on here, so that's awesome. Hi, Lena. Okay, so who am I? Well, I've been watching in a spiritual business page that we have, and have noticed that a lot of people are doing this, so I thought I would join in. Let me mute that so we don't have to listen to my computer. Okay, so who am I? I am Melissa. I am a spiritual teacher. I help people get a handle on their spiritual gifts with a special emphasis on children and their parents. And I'll explain how I got to that point in my journey. So a little bit about me. I'm a born medium, so just means I've been able to see, hear, and talk to spirits since I was born, which was both a blessing and I won't call it a curse, but not always the most convenient thing ever. When you grow up in a house. I was born in the early 80s, and so people were just a little more asleep then. And hey, Davina. And my parents especially weren't really as open, and they just were uneducated. We'll go with that. It's not that they meant to be unsupportive, but they just didn't understand what was going on. So here's me growing up in a house as a little one with ghosties and spirits and friends and whatnot. It's all in my room, and really nowhere to go with that, no one to talk to about it, no one that really understood what was going on. So it was just kind of me, and I'm like, okay, what do we do with that? And you're just kind of told, oh, you're just making it up, or it's not real, So I did what I think a lot of people do and kind of closed down my gifts and just ignored them and kind of, I don't know, you know how you do. You just ignore them and hope they'll go away, but they don't, because let's be real, spirit will keep persisting until you deal with what's going on and acknowledge your gifts. Hey, Susan. Um, so, so what ended up happening was a whole lot of anxiety. Anybody that has ever ignored their spiritual gifts or spirit in general knows that they don't give up. They will keep pursuing you until you pay attention to them. And um, our body perceives spirit energy as anxiety because spirit, they usually try to lift our energy up to their level, which usually means they're going to raise us up a little. And our bodies perceive that as anxiety because it just doesn't know what to do with that. So there we go. So I ended up closing down my gifts probably as a preteen. I don't really remember, I guess, when it actually stopped, but probably like 9, 10, somewhere in there. You just end up I just one day was like, you know what, forget it. I don't want to deal with that. Let's just everybody go about your business, but leave me alone. And no, thank you. We'll do something with that later. Hey, Allison. Um, so, like I said, how this manifested for me was severe anxiety and depression. I would have full-blown anxiety attacks, like especially at night. When I was outside, it was the worst for me. And so I like if I was out at night somewhere and then I had to drive home by myself, I would have full-blown anxiety attacks. I mean, crying, hyperventilating, like just freaking out. And I didn't know why. Well, now I know that was just spirit trying to get in touch with me. Number one, I was alone, so I could listen a little easier. I always seem to be a little more active at night. I know that's true for me and most people that have experience with spirit. It's just they're more active at night. Yeah, Lena, I've heard a lot of, I don't remember where I first heard it, but a lot of people that I know refer to that as spirit anxiety. So, um, like when spirit comes around, you start to feel anxious and just feel like, ooh, what is that? Just because your energy is doing weird stuff that it wasn't doing 5 minutes ago. And so I like that. I call it spirit anxiety. I don't really get it anymore, and I'll go into that again. But yeah, so severe anxiety and depression for me as a teenager, it was terrible, 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 terrible. And then probably my 20s as well. I left my gifts closed all the way until I was in my 30s, my early 30s probably, is when I started kind of noticing them. Hey, Dory. But still didn't really know what to do with them. I was kind of getting a little curious, so I would like read a blog post here and there, but nothing serious. So in my probably mid 30s, I went to a cosmetology school to learn how to do nails, totally unrelated. And I met a friend there, and we got to talking about all things metaphysical, and she talked me into not being afraid of my gifts anymore and to pursue them and to open them up and really explore what that was and be okay with it and not, release the stigma that I had with all things metaphysical and like, being a medium and all that kind of thing. She thought it was awesome. So that gave me courage to kind of, a little bit of courage, enough that I was secretly looking at blog posts and that I was in the closet watching YouTube videos in my headphones. So nobody will know what I'm doing, kind of thing. But wasn't ready to come out of the spiritual closet yet. So I was real to myself, but I was really getting heavy into like a lot of research, I guess you could call it, like blog posts and YouTube videos and whatever I could find. It was just kind of soaking it all in. And then I finally got the have the courage to go into a metaphysical shop, and hey, Jen. And so I decided to to Google one. My friend didn't know where any were here. She thought there were some in another town, but didn't know of any here in town. So I Googled, and one came up. So I was like, okay, cool. Let me check out this website. So I'm like looking, and there's a few people on there, practitioners that I felt kind of called to like talk to. And so I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go in here and like look for some crystals, but I'm not gonna talk to anybody, and hopefully nobody talks to me. So I went in, and there was one person on the website that I had in particular noticed and felt really called to like talk to, but was too chicken, of course. So I walk in, and who's standing at the counter? That person, which freaked me out because I was like, oh my God, there she is. Oh my God, what do I do? You know, like almost turned around and walked out because I was freaking out. So yeah, Davina. Yeah, so anyway, but I stayed. I didn't talk to her, like didn't make eye contact, like went and got my crystals and paid for my crystals and was just like, okay, thanks, bye, you know, like left. It was really kind of funny now that I look back at it. But yeah, Ellerson, yeah, the anxiety, that's how a lot of people start noticing it. And a lot of people go and get on medication because um, you know, you don't know what to do with this anxiety, right? You know, if you don't know, you don't know what you don't know. So when people are having anxiety, then I always tell them, you know, and I'm not against mental health or mental, you know, getting mental help, but yeah, for a lot of people that later come into their gifts, they figure out that the anxiety was all related to spirit and spiritual stuff. So anyway, okay, so I got my crystals in my home. Then I have notes. Sorry, I'm looking at them real quick. Yeah, okay. So I finally decided that I'm gonna check out these classes that they had there, and I felt brave enough to maybe go to one. Um, so I did. It was an intro class, intro to shamanism class, and that's where I met a lot of these lovely ladies that are popping in here tonight. Um, and yeah, and Davina, that was so funny how she came back into my life too at the same shop. That was pretty crazy. So I go to the shaman class, and I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool. Yeah, I think maybe I can hang with these guys, you know, this seems pretty cool. I felt called to go. So I'm like, okay, so I signed up for the full class and started going. We met once a month. Um, and I made it about halfway through that class and then decided, I don't know, I learned a lot in those 6 months that it just didn't feel like I needed to continue at that time. Um, a lot happened in those 6 months. Like I developed a lot and came out of the spiritual closet and actually started working in the shop that I was so scared to go to in the first place. So anyway, I was working as I was doing readings, which was super out of my comfort zone. Um, Still kind of is. I'm working on releasing that fear. Davina is helping me with that. She's doing awesome. Hey, Brooke. Um, yeah, so there I was working in the shop, and you know, I was doing readings and loving it. I helped a lot of people and kind of just developing my confidence. Oh, Lena, thanks. Um, yeah, your reading was probably one of my favorites that I ever did, actually. um, Anyway, so there I was, like developing all this stuff and still really not knowing what I wanted to do because let's see, I took Reiki classes. Did the shaman thing for like 6 months. Didn't really feel like that fit. Thanks, Tabina. You're amazing too. Um, and I submitted some writing to a bunch of magazines. I don't know if anybody really knows this about me, but I was actually published in an international like metaphysical magazine. I had an article. I just kind of sent just blank. I just wrote this article and just got a bunch of email addresses for magazines, and I just started submitting my article to kind of everybody. And one actually sent back a thing, and most of them were like, "Oh, no thanks," kind of thing. But one actually sent back an email and was like, "Yeah, dude, we're gonna publish this." It was kind of like their highlighted. It was sort of like a letter to the editor, sort of is what it would be equivalent to, I guess. But it was like a highlighted Reader of the Month article, and so it was kind of like first thing in the magazine, which was kind of cool. And they're based out of the UK, so I didn't actually get a copy of the magazine, which was a bummer. I wanted to get a copy to keep, but Hay House did send me a free book. Um, it was something about moon something. I don't know where it is, but I should have looked it up. Anyway, it was kind of cool. It was kind of cool. So that was kind of a fun deal. That, I guess, built my confidence a little bit more too. So the other part of my life is I have 4 kids, and I started noticing that all 4 of my kids had gifts as well. They all manifested differently for each kid. So each kid has, well, I mean, our gifts manifest differently for everybody. So why wouldn't they for them too? But it was kind of fun to start exploring my kids and how their gifts are showing up for them and how they're choosing to use them. So then my challenge was, I don't want my kids to grow up feeling scared and anxious the way I did. So I had to sit down and talk with my husband and just about everything that had been going on, which he already kind of knew, and decide, is it okay if, I'm going to start talking to these guys about angels and fairies and spirits and all things metaphysical. So luckily he was on board. So we went ahead and started talking to our kids about all of that stuff and just giving them the tools of what to do with their gifts and how to use them and how to stay safe with their gifts, and just to make it fun and not scary, which was important to me because my childhood had been scary, not on purpose, but just because I didn't have any resources. So as it went along, my quest became to make, like I said, make it easy and fun and not scary. As we went along, so I've been parenting my kids that way, right? And everybody kept saying, when it would come up in conversation, everybody would say, "Oh wow, that's really interesting. Like, I've never thought about talking to my kids about it." Or a lot of people, when they do talk to their kids about it, they kind of sugarcoat it and don't give them all the details, which they're kids, yeah, but kids are just little people, right? So we just need to talk to them, kind of kid it up, and don't use, the terminology, don't let it be scary or whatever. But, I believe in full disclosure, letting them know just kind of what the situation is, and, giving them the tools to deal with it, so that empowers them to be able to deal with anything that might be scaring them. And if they can't, I let them know I'm always here. If you can't deal with it, if you try and you can't get whatever it is resolved, you're always welcome to come in and ask for help or a hug or whatever it is you need. But I try to empower our kids to be able to control their gifts and control their space, so that they don't have the unwanted visitors in their room at night. If they don't want them there, they just tell them, "Go away. I don't want you in here right now." And it's been pretty cool to watch them on their journey. So recently I've gotten the spiritual assignment that I am supposed to help other people learn how to use the techniques that I've been using while I've been parenting my kids. Not that I claim to know it all or anything, but I'm just following where spirit is leading, and that's always a good decision because they'll keep pushing until we go, right? So now it's kind of my mission to make sure that the tools are out there for the parents that need them and the children that need them. And I trust that Spirit will lead the people to me that need my kind of help and are meant to work with me. So that's kind of where it brings us to full circle to where we're at now. So now what I'm doing is I'm getting together a class. I'm probably going to launch it online. I've always had the vision that I would have an online kind of digital space business. And so I'm pretty sure that's where we're going to do it. I had toyed with having a live class in person in town, but I don't feel like that's where I want to go right now. So Spirit's really pushing me to keep it digital for now. And then I do see myself probably doing like speaking engagements and like live classes maybe eventually down the road. But for now, like I said, Spirit's kind of pushing me to leave it digital for now. So I'm just, like I said, I'm trying to do what they're telling me to do because, you know, they know better than we do most of the time. So anyways, that's where we're at. I'm now a full-grown, grown-up medium, psychic, all the things. I don't really like to have a title other than just teacher. I love the title of teacher. I love helping people learn how to open up their gifts. I love people give them little tips and tricks on how to use them, how I use them, all of those things. So anyway, that is, hey Jamie, that's my story. I'm sticking to it, I guess. Anybody has any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to hop off here. I've kept you guys on here for 20 minutes, so that's kind of a long time. But thanks to Vina for the love. Yes, Spirit always has your back, exactly. They totally do, if we listen. All right, ladies and gents. I don't know who's still here, but I hope you guys all have a good night. Share with your friends. Let them know we're here. We're doing this thing where, yes, Lena, go ahead. We are unplugging people, waking people up, including making it easier for the next generation. That's kind of my thing. Clear the fear. You guys, have you noticed that that's happening? Look around. Everybody's waking up. Yes, Lena, how can we stay tuned to what's coming? Yeah, well, this page, on my public page, I'm going to for sure be posting things, and Martha is gracious and lets us share in her group, so I'll be doing that as well. My Instagram, I'm really active on Instagram. I love posting on Instagram, so I'm there doing that. It'll kind of be everywhere. I'll share it everywhere, so I mean, I won't hide it from you. The days of hiding are over, right? That was New Year. It's time for us to all go, go, go. Doesn't matter how we get there. We just have to go, right, guys? Okay. Lots of love, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for chatting with me. Love you guys. Have a good night. Thanks.